Hello everybody. I decided to do a quick update video because my last video I told you about the orphanage that I saw on Instagram and that whole thing. And I'll say, I had just had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and of course Giving Tuesday is coming up, day after tomorrow. And I was feeling so blessed, and of course you see other people not as blessed and you feel a little guilty, and they're pushing the Giving Tuesday. So I was in the mindset of donating, and I got swept up by the the orphanage, which may still be legitimate. I'm not saying it's not. But, I should have done more research, and I really should trust the reputable known organizations, such as in this case, Heifer International is an organization that has offices around the world, very reputable, has a high, a high rating for donating most of the money to the cause, because there are large organizations that only about a small percentage goes to the actual cause. Let me turn off that dehumidifier. I go back to Maryland Tuesday, by coincidence. So, and Heifer International, I think, donates over 90%. Of course, there are administrative costs. They have to hire people to run the organization, but they give a very large portion to the actual cause. So that's one good thing about Heifer International. And the man did want a dairy cow, and Kampala, there's an office in Kampala. They have offices around the world. So I decided from now on, I'll just leave it to the experts, the ones who know. I'm sure Heifer International has a process where they first make sure that it's legitimate and whatever. And so I ended up referring the gentleman. I've already given the money, so I'm not going to make any stink about that. But I ended up referring him to Heifer International so he can call or go. And I did offer him, if he decides to apply for a dairy cow, I did offer him my secretarial services, that if there's any paperwork he needs to fill out or something, if he needs assistance, I offered him that. So, and from now on, I'm just going to do what I've been doing, donating and volunteering locally, wherever I live. If I'm in Miami, I'll do it in Miami. If I'm in Maryland, I'll do it in my area in Maryland, And if everybody would just donate and help locally, that's a place to start. And then those people will donate and help locally, and etc. Or help the country where you're from. For example, my family's from Argentina, so I visit often enough to recognize, the scammers versus the real people. I know people personally, so it's a different situation. So I would say to anyone who's, my own little personal opinion, even though I didn't follow my own advice, is to, just work locally in your community where you actually know the people running the organization, or donate to your country of origin. If you've immigrated here from somewhere, donate to the people in your country. And what else can you do? Really, because it is unfortunate, that money that I donated, hopefully it is a legitimate orphanage. But this morning on my feed, I got another Ugandan orphanage. I must be now on some kind of list, and so, obviously I'm not going to donate to them. And that orphanage did have a public profile, and it didn't look realistic. The children were just too, not that I should be judging. If it's a wonderful orphanage that keeps their children in perfect condition, and they're all clean and well dressed and happy and chubby, and that's wonderful if it truly is an orphanage. But I'm now thinking, at least the one that I saw this morning, may be just some teachers at a school, or a day camp or something. There are people who are well off in third world countries. They're not all starving. So this might be just some school in, Kampala where the children are all happy, and those same teachers may be the ones, with the videos and the films and putting it on Instagram and pretending it's an orphanage. It could be anything. So we shouldn't be just donating blindly. I can only now hope. I'm not going to go after since I have no proof whether it's legitimate or not. I'm not going to now go to the gentleman and say, oh, give me the money back. I need more proof. It's done. What's done is done, and I've now referred him, and he did respond, thank you so much, that will be very helpful. If he were a scammer, I'm guessing, and even let's assume he's kind of a scammer. Scammers don't have to be the extreme. Maybe he's some poor man who's got a kid to feed or some kids to feed, and he's just doing what he needs to do. He's not, like pushy. Scammers are usually... I've dealt with scammers. Argentina is like the epitome of the world, number one scammers, or one of them. I mean, they've had to survive government overthrows and, hyperinflation, and countries that are a mess like that, which the United States is becoming. That's a whole other thing. They learn to survive, by wheeling and dealing and scamming and side hustles and avoiding, paying taxes, and it's just bribes. It's just every kind of scam you can think of happens in Argentina, either in smaller amounts or in large, But even your local, your local Mary Kay woman or your local Avon seller, even they do a little bit of... So on the one hand, I understand when you're in that kind of economy, you kind of do what you got to do to pay the rent. And so since the one I donated to was so small, even on the GoFundMe, I was the latest donator. And the one who had donated previous was, I think, 2 or 3 months ago. So even if it is a scam, it's probably a mini scam. And I'm guessing some poor guy that needs a few bucks. Although what I donated in his country is worth a good amount. So anyway, it's done. Yeah, he seems like a nice man. Maybe he'll just use it for whatever, food, who knows. So, but yeah, from now on, I'm just going to stick with what I've usually been doing, just local, why not care for our own children that are also in poverty? And there is even hunger in the U.S., even in some places, and in the large cities and in remote rural towns. Although in the rural towns, they perhaps have more options as far as learning to grow food, but yeah, stick with the local. That's what I'm going to suggest now, and learn from my sort of mistake. If it is a mistake, again, I'm still crossing my fingers that it's going to go to good use, whatever I donated. So that's just my mini update. I've removed the links from my previous video, and anyway, it's all fine. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and whatever. See you around. I'll be surely back with another ramble soon. Bye-bye.